welcome to the first episode of the BrawlCast. With me, I'll let them introduce themselves.
Go ahead, Kim.
You want to go first? Okay. Well, I'm Kim, also known as Kimbo.
You all know Kimbo.
Y'all know me.
What's up, guys? It's your boy MSubs88, also known as Michael. My real name. I have one of those. So,
if you guys don't know, I have a channel called the Bakugan Legacy, but I just go by Dylan also. So, all right.
Good boy.
Yeah, boy.
So how you guys feeling right now?
Oh, I'm hyped. I'm so excited to be here. Like, I want to do something like this for such a long time, and yeah, let's.
Same, man. Especially getting everything done with just moving and being able to do podcasts and such. I'm really hyped.
Yeah, me too. I just moved too. I know, Michael, you're looking into moving right now also.
We're getting ready
Stressful
to move.
times. Stressful times are upon us. With everything going on right now, I think it's really good to kind of just relax and just talk about the things we love,
Big time.
Yeah. So the first thing we're going to do with this podcast is, so basically the general idea we have behind this podcast is to talk about Bakugan. We want to bring guests on. We want to talk about the game, the anime. We want to cover everything. We want to cover old school Bakugan. We just want to bring our love of Bakugan and our experiences with Bakugan to the rest of you guys. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and we'll turn over to Michael first. Let's talk about your first experiences with Bakugan. What brought you into the game?
Wow. Okay. So, are you all ready for story time?
I am very excited for this.
That's about to happen. Okay. So, long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. That's copyrighted. I probably shouldn't say that. No, in a city, little small town far, far away. That's not that far away from me, but it is from you guys. I was a junior in high school. So I guess that was like 08, 09. I was riding the bus, and my cousin he was young, he's like a lot younger than me. He was like, hey, so there's this thing, it's called Bakugan, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, those are neat. I didn't know there was any game or anything to it. He was young, so I kind of blew it off. Didn't think a lot about it. Also, being a junior in high school, I was more focused on playing, like competitive Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that. Even though I wasn't competitive at all then. And one of my friends that I would sit with on the bus, shout out to you, Sean. He was like, "Hey, dude, check this out." And he whips this little dude out. I'm like, "Oh snap, that's a Bakugan." He's like, "Yeah,
Your
it's
OG
Drago."
Bakugan.
Yeah,
That's a Drago though. Oh, I'm fanboy. Okay.
I was like, dude. Oh no, Nilius fell. Anyway, I was like, "Do you want to sell it?" And he was like, "I would." And I was like, "Okay, I'll give you. I have like $4.50." Is that good with you? He's like, "Yeah, dude, that's fine." So I buy it off of them. I'm like, "Okay, this guy's cool." And then this I bought it that morning. So I had him with me at school and stuff, and creating my little bond with my little Delta B1 Dragonoid. Didn't have any idea what the colors meant or anything like that. But so I get on the bus, and this other kid comes up to me. He's like, "I heard you have a Bakugan." I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "I'll battle you for it." I was like, "Okay." And he was like, "If you win, you can have my B1 Dragonoid, and if I win, I get yours." I was like, "Sure, why not?" And I can safely say that if I had lost, I probably would have never gotten into Bakugan, but I won. And so I ended up with regular B1
Playing
Aquas
for keeps
Dragonoid.
is so trash, though.
No, I mean, I ended up being a Darkest player. You can't fault me. So, and the best part was how I won it was we agreed to only one gate card, and since we were on the bus, we were like, we'll just place them on it, whatever. And he was like, "You can pick the gate card." I was like, "Cool." I was like, I don't have a gate card. So I looked at my cousin Seth and I was like, hey, you got a gate card? And he's like, here. And he hands me Tricky Gate. So it didn't matter that I didn't have ability cards or anything because Delta, I don't know if you can see or not, is only 450B and this one is 520. So it was just like, what are you going to do?
Mhm.
So I won with Tricky Gate and won my second one. And then my third ever Bakugan was Aquos Storm Skyrus. So fun fact out there for all you Baku nerds, my original faction is technically Aquos.
And the rest is history.
Yep, here we are. There's some more odds and ends in there, but
Oh yeah.
I ended up playing Pyrus for the majority of the OG, and then when the reboot was announced, I was like, you know what? I've always had a thing for Darkus, but I don't know. So I'm like, new series, new faction. Let's go.
Nice. All right, Kim, what about you?
Oh snap! It's story time for me.
It is story time.
Well, back in my day as a little whippersnapper. Okay. So I like people know I've had my channel for like 8 years. I got right into Bakugan as soon as the series started. Like it was probably about a month after it started or something. Just one day I stopped and I watched the show, and it was the episode where Dan and Drago were fighting. Is when they first met, and then Dan got super PO to Drago and just tossed him in the ring. The very first episode I saw. I didn't watch a ton after that, but I saw that episode. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. Why the heck's he fighting with a marble? I didn't realize it would be up and stuff. And then going back and watching some more of the episodes, I'm like, okay, so they're actually creatures. Like they're marbles that turn into creatures, which is really, really freaking sick. And then I found out buying in the store because I went to the store and saw that they had some. I'm like, all right, time to pick up some. But like it was a little bit before I actually picked up some. I think the first ones that I actually got, I didn't get them from the store. I actually got them from like a friend. One of the first ones I got, what the heck was it?
I think that's how it kind of starts with everybody.
Like yeah, at least one of the first ones I got, it was a minute. Like I think around Gundalian,
First one's free.
Really starting to collect them. Like really, really starting to collect them.
Yeah.
And the first one I bought from the store, I definitely remember was Skya and Gaia Dragonoid. Because it was just cool. Because like you roll it out and it splits into two different Bakugan with it. Because it's two Bakugan in one kind of, which was a really cool gimmick. But then I went back and just figured out like some of the B1 Bakugan, some of the first season Bakugan, and just watching the show, it was like, yo, I was a big Dan fan. I won't even lie. I was a big Dan fan season one. I'm like, Dan, that's the dude. And I just love the build that they had with all the brawlers and such. And then getting into season 2. But season 2, another brawler won my heart. I was like, yo, this dude's freaking awesome. That's Spectra.
Same.
Spectra, I'm like, I'm a Pyrus brawler. I was a Pyrus brawler from the get-go. Yo, you got the Hex Drago and Helios MK2. I got them packed away somewhere. I got my collection and stuff still unpacking. But as soon as Spectra came in with Helios, I was like, yo, this is crazy. And then he started using like the tech, like the Vesto technology, and made Cyborg Helios and then Helios MK2. Yeah. As soon as he rolled out MK2, that was my favorite Bakugan for the whole first era. Even after the Invaders and Titanium Surge happening, I was like, nah, that's my favorite. that is my boy. That is my child right there. I want to get that one day. But sure enough, fast forward, just started upping my collection, started looking for some Bakugan in stores. Some of my friends were a little bit into it, but not too much. And they were like, hey, I don't want this anymore. Do you want it? And I was like, yeah, I'll take it. I love Bakugan. And then built up my collection to the point where it was. And I guess the rest is basically history. I turned actually into a Darkest Brawler when Spectra came back. So in the last season 4, Titanium Surge, when he switched to Darkest with Helios, I was like, okay, because I always liked Darkest. It was always my second favorite. But that the second he came back and Helios went from Pyrus to Darkest, I'm like, I'm a Darkest Brawler. Sorry, I love Pyrus, but I'm a Darkest Brawler, man.
Question.
It's so awesome.
Question for you, Kim.
Yeah.
The reason, okay, I want to know, was the reason that you didn't ever go to Darkest in the first place because you felt more connected to Dan and Dan played Pyrus? Because that's how it was for me.
Like,
I was
a
like,
little bit. It was mainly, I guess, not going so much to darkest because a lot of the Bakugan that were evil in the series were darkest.
yeah,
And so like, I mean, Masquerade and Hydronoid, which I dug them both. I was like, Alpha Hydronoid. That's one of my favorites from the first season. And then also Brody's with Darak. And even though I hated Brody's his guts, Phantom Darak is one of my favorite third season Bakugan. And that was like the turning point for it. It's like I always wanted to like Darkest, but just the fact there's so much evil with it, I'm like, I can't be an evil person. I'm a good person. Darkest is evil, and then you realize the Darkest wasn't actually evil.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I realized like when I played Pyrus, I always wanted to be main character material, and I realized I'm way too chaotic to be main character. I'm definitely a hero, so it just fits my persona a bit better.
Very true.
um,
So I guess it's my turn now.
it is your
Yeah.
turn.
So you guys, I'm a little bit younger than both of you guys. So when you guys got into Bakugan, you guys were in high school, close to high school.
I was in like 9th grade when it came out.
I was a junior in like 2008. Because I'll be 28 this year. Spoiler.
Yeah, so you guys are both quite a bit older than me. I'm 20. All right, I will be 21 in 2 months.
21.
But
yeah, you're about the same age as my cousin. That's right.
yeah, and so Bakugan kind of hit me at a young age, and it was like the perfect age, because Bakugan came out 2008, right?
Yeah, it was like 2000, 2007, 2008, something like that.
Yeah, so around that time, I was in like the 3rd grade. Okay, 3rd or 4th grade, I don't remember which. But yeah, I remember I didn't really get into it by like watching the show or anything. I saw the TV commercials, and I was just like, "Whoa, those look so cool!" And I asked my parents for like forever, and I asked for Easter because we would get like, I was like, they'd fit perfectly in the little Easter eggs. Like, why not? Didn't get them.
What the heck?
And so I think if I remember correctly, I went to the store with my dad, and we were walking down the toy aisles, and I ended up seeing Bakugan, and I was like, I didn't even know we had them. Like, I thought they were hard to get. So I was like, oh, I need this, and I don't remember exactly which pack it was. It was a 3-pack. It was a 3-pack Pyrus pack. It came with it. It was the translucent Bakugan, the B1s.
Nice.
And it was like a Robotallion, Juggernoid, and I think Fear Ripper or Falconeer. I don't remember which. But since then, it was like all my friends ended up getting them at school, so we'd like trade. We never really played the game because it was just more about the toys.
Yeah.
So the game didn't really matter to me at that age. I was just like, I got the cool marbles that pop open. So
yeah, Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. You're good. No, and like Kim said, when people started getting tired of it, like after it became a quote unquote fad, people started getting like, it got old for some people around New Vestroya-ish, and I showed up to school and somebody literally just dropped a whole pile of them on my desk. They're like, "Hey, you want these?" I'm like, "Yes, I do. Thanks." And I don't know. I kind of kept with it, and obviously still do since I'm 20 years old, and I still love it as much as I did when I was a kid.
Feel that?
I don't know what made it stick. Honestly, like I don't know if it's like the idea of such like a card game being turned into like a grand scale of something, or if it's just the nostalgia. I don't know what it is, but it was something that lasted a long time for me. Like, clearly.
Right.
For me, it like initially what really stuck with it for me was that there was a show, like an anime, and it was very anime-esque, and it was like Pokemon, except they made actual models of the characters in the show.
Mm-hmm.
So it was something that if I went and watched the show, I could find 9 times out of 10 something from the show, like Drago, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
I could have my own Drago, and it was the same size. It was there. It was in my hand, and I could. I guess I'm a very kinesthetic person. I like to be able to hold and touch things. That's why I play more trading card games and like Beyblade and things like that than I do video games. And that's why like I have to explain to CG Inferno and Blaze Wheeler all the time. Like one of the big things I just don't care about for Untap is I'm not physically holding the stuff. I'm not physically doing it. It's all digital, and I'm also like, just for perspective, I'm also very much I would rather have a CD and a little booklet in a little case than I would download music. I'm just that kind of guy.
No, I totally get that.
So it's like I could have my own, as nerdy as this is, I could have my own Bakugan partner. I could carry it with me. I do carry it with me. Helps me fidget with something because ADHD is a terrible thing.
Oh, I feel you.
But it gives me something to kind of like, as dumb as it is, bond to, and it helps me stay interested in the game.
Yeah. No, I totally understand where you're coming from with that. You know, mine generally don't leave my shelf. Like I don't normally carry one with me or anything, but I like to. What I like to do is I just like to come home, and I'll like just thumb through them, like just look through, pick some up, pop some open. You know, my kid loves them, so it's like, it's just kind of a fun thing to like you said, just fidget with. You know.
I feel that.
But yeah, another thing that kept me really interested was the video game when it came out. Not the Defenders of the Core, but the original video game.
Oh yeah. When
I never played the second one.
Rolling on things like rules for the game.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I watched the anime, the original one, all the way up until about. I didn't watch all of Mectanium Surge. I watched After Gandalian Invaders, and then I watched a little bit of Mectanium Surge, and I was like, kind of not feeling it anymore. I was a little bit older, so you know, it was like a lot of people say why Bakugan kind of ended up failing is because they didn't grow up with their audience, and I can kind of agree with that because around that time, you know, it was the same. And granted, it was a show made for kids, you know, and so I understand that. And also, I'm not saying like, go ahead.
I was just gonna say. Also, I feel like as far as the show goes, and I feel like that's probably another reason that the show now isn't doing as well as the first 2 seasons of Battle Brawlers and New Vestroya. Is it's so similar to Pokemon that it's like. I love the show, but it feels so much like they're trying to be their own version of Pokemon, like as far as the anime goes. And it's also with like Battle Planet versus Armored Alliance, like they didn't have like the marble forms like opening up until Armored Alliance. That was another huge like selling thing for the show was, you know, you cared about the show because you could see your marbles on the show. So it was like,
it's a cool concept.
I feel like, but back to like the Pokemon thing, I feel like it's too similar to Pokemon, like how it's written and how it's shown, that it's unintentionally trying to compete with Pokemon. And when you try to compete with Pokemon at something that is Pokemon-esque, you're just gonna lose. Like nothing against it, but Pokemon's been around, they're established. It's gonna be really hard to get somebody to want to watch something that's similar to Pokemon over Pokemon because Pokemon's just inherently better because they've been doing it longer.
Oh yeah. And see, I don't watch Pokemon like I used to. For me, Pokemon like back in the day, like the OG Pokemon,
Yeah.
Like, they had some pretty mature themes.
Yeah.
And some funny jokes and stuff like that. Like I still watch it on Netflix and I love it. But it's like now with the newer seasons, I'd say since like Diamond and Pearl, it's been a lot more. I don't know, kid friend. I say that because it's a kids show, so it's like
yeah, kind of. I mean, like especially like I haven't seen like all the episodes or such, but I've seen like fragments of all the different seasons, and one of the things is like, yeah, since you said like Diamond and Pearl, it feels like it's been like more like PG kind of in a way, but I think in the most recent seasons they've definitely bounced back from that. The biggest case with this, in my opinion, was for sure Black and White, because just how they had it where Ash didn't know really anything. They were calling him a kid and stuff, and I was like, oh man, come on. Like, just the smallest little things even with that. But I mean, X and Y, like I mean, you just talked about the animes afterwards. X and Y was great. Everything I saw.
I've heard really good things about X and Y.
Yeah.
Sun and Moon look really, I don't know, maybe it's the animation, but it just seems much more cartoony, kid-friendly.
Kind of, maybe because they switched up the animation style, because they did switch it up big time from like XY to Sun and Moon, and even now with, I think it's Journeys?
Yeah.
Journeys is really good. I've watched a couple episodes. I like it pretty well. It's like a happy medium between the Sun and Moon animation style and X and Y animation style.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, even with like shows like this, I mean, like games like this, like Pokemon, Beyblade, Bakugan, they all kind of have like a kind of central thing with it. You just adventure along with your friends, get stronger, and then there's an evil you have to face, or like rivals you have to face, or such. And it's kind of like it's hard because since they're all like just kind of games in this genre are all kind of built that way, no matter what they are. It's like it's hard to differentiate things with it. You know what I mean? Like how you were saying,
right.
How it's a lot like Pokemon or such. It's just how a lot of these games are. Like being a blader myself and playing Beyblade, you see that the bladers all get stronger. They all come back. There's an evil they have to face. In Pokemon, you have to like get all the badges and go towards the lead. That's one of the main things that's established from the get go. And Bakugan is sort of the same thing. Granted, one thing I do enjoy, I got caught up with like all of Armored Alliance. I binge watched all of it yesterday just to get caught up. And one thing I do like about it is that like they're having kind of a world championship. Like they had a little world championship arc, which is something they didn't have. I don't think before with Bakugan, which is pretty cool. At least until like Titanium Surge, which that was kind of a world championship, but also the story for that was a little different. But just having that arc even was pretty cool, because seeing all these brawlers from all around the world that established them as like strong brawlers, especially facing like the awesome brawlers and actually putting up a fight against them, because they're seeing like the awesome brawlers that are freaking awesome and will completely whoop anyone who steps in front of them, except when they don't. But
and we'll talk about the anime some more in a future episode. That'll be the anime episode. Hopefully we'll have some guests for that. But yeah, so I really enjoy hearing your guys' experiences with, what kind of brought you into what Bakugan is today. Like everybody has a different experience. And like I said, you guys are much older than me at the time, so it's like I was like a little kid. Yeah. You guys were in high school, so the experiences we've had, they were all so different. But now we're all here in the same area together. So it's crazy how like things work like that.
For sure.
But so we have about 9 minutes. What do you guys think of the Invitational that happened in November?
That was a dream come true. And I owe Kimbo hugely for that, because I know he pushed really hard for me to be there. You're my hero. It was like easily one of like in the top, like I'm gonna say top 5 moments of my life. And I've got a daughter, so it's like it's up there.
That's pretty high.
In fact, I had a daughter and the Invitational basically in the same week, so that was kind of a really
that's crazy.
Good high point in my life.
A week of blessings right there, dude.
Absolutely. I hope we get I hope there's one this year.
So the thing is, like, what were you saying, Kimbo?
Oh, I'm just saying, fingers crossed.
Oh yeah, I know. With everything going on right now, I wouldn't be surprised if everything got canceled until the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, it was crazy because, you know, Kim and I are kind of like in similar situations where we live in such small areas. You know, like I have a Walmart, and that's it. The next store I have is 45 minutes north, hour and a half south. You know, I have to drive anywhere if I wanna go to like multiple stores like Target. There's 2 Walmarts in the next town, like 45 minutes away. So they're more of like a more city. I'm like rural town. So
Gotcha.
it was very humbling for me, a dude coming from a small town. You know,
My hometown has like 5,000 people in it, so I feel you.
It's about mine. You know, it's crazy. You know, like I said, very humbling experience. Getting to meet everybody was super cool.
Oh
like,
yeah,
especially like,
definitely.
and I would say like meeting Kim and meeting Ilinuk were like total. Like that was the best part because like I watched you guys when I was young, so it was like it was a really really cool experience. You know, getting to meet some of the guys that I looked up to, and then like hanging out, playing the game. It was super cool.
It's really funny because I remember Ilinuk before his channel blew up. I was like, he was actually watching my videos. He probably doesn't remember it, but he was actually watching my videos and commenting on my stuff when he was a kid. And then where I'm so terrible about keeping up with things and I'm really bad about swapping hobbies or getting into multiple hobbies and then focusing more on one than the other.
Me too.
But that's why my channel is as old, if not older, than Kim's channel, and it's so small because I've not kept with it or went as hard with it as Kim has. So that's some perspective there to show.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how long you do it; it matters like how hard you do it. I guess
your drive,
sure.
like how much you really love what you do. Those are like the main things with it.
Motivation.
Well, and like I started my channel 4 years ago, and at first I started it just as like a secondary channel to like have a separate set of videos that I'd watch. So like with my main like Google account and whatever, I have like my list of people I'm subscribed to or whatever. I started this channel just so I could like subscribe to all the Beyblade channels and just have those, because I started out as a Beyblade channel, like back in 2016. I was in high school and Burst was just coming out, so I was really hyped about that, and so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start a channel. You know, I'll start doing Beyblade and doing all that, and I was like, I was doing okay at first. My videos obviously weren't getting a lot of views. And it was like I was getting like 50 views maybe, and my problem is I was only able to get the Hasbro Beyblades because, you know, Takara, they're really high quality, but I didn't have the money at the time.
Yeah,
you know, they're expensive.
Beyblade's expensive.
Yeah, and so, you know, I wasn't able to keep up with the new releases because, you know, they'd come out so often, and I'd be like, everybody would already talk about one Beyblade, and then the next one would be out. I'd be talking about the old one, and nobody would care anymore. So I'd be like, oh, all right. So I kind of, and once I heard about the Bakugan reboot, I was like, you know, I'm gonna buy up a Bakugan lot, kind of talk about it on my channel, which I did. I bought a lot of all the old Bakugan, and I went over them one by one, and then in the next did that in preparation for the reboot. I even said it in the video. I was like, I'm super hyped for the reboot, so I'm going to do this. And then that led into the reboot actually getting announced, because at the time it was just rumored. And so I was like, okay, well, the reboot just came out. Maybe I could do Bakugan and Beyblade. And honestly, once I started doing Bakugan, Beyblade got completely pushed to the side. I haven't kept up with it at all. And I don't have any regrets with that personally. You know,
I feel that.
You know, for me, it was hard to focus on Beyblade and Bakugan when Bakugan was so new and relevant, and that's all I wanted to do.
That was kind of me.
Yeah.
When I moved back to Tennessee from Richmond, I didn't have anybody to blade with, and I'm very hyper competitive with any hobby that I do.
Mhm.
I mean, some things I'll play casually, but I need people to play with, or else I lose interest. And so when I moved back to Tennessee, I picked up the Pokemon TCG and was playing it because I needed to fulfill my competitive need, and I didn't have anybody to blade with. So I moved away from Beyblade, and then I was still talking with Kim and Eleanuk and some of the other Baytubers, the bigger Baytubers. We had the line chat, and Eleanuk and Kimbo were like, dude, Bakugan's coming back, Invitational. I was like, I want to go so bad, and I didn't get to go. And I cried a lot. Not really, but I did on the inside. So then this past year, like actually getting to go was such a like dream come true. Like I didn't like I started pushing really hard with my content after not making it the first time, and was like, I'm going.
Oh, absolutely.
And I went. Just shows you can put whatever you can do, whatever you put your mind to.
Oh yeah, for the first Invitational, I was watching Negative Legends videos. I watched his whole set, the whole Invitational, like multiple times just to hype myself up for the release. So
wow,
it was very cool that I actually got invited. At first, I thought it was fake. When I got the email, I thought it was fake. I was like, somebody's trolling me right now.
I froze. I was in the middle. I was at work on break, and one of my friends looked at me and they were like, "Are you okay?" And I was like shaking. I went pale. I mean, as if I'm not pale enough as is, but I went pale as a ghost. I was like, I got invited. What the heck? And I was like, I hope my daughter is born before then so I can go.
All right. Well,
it's just wild. It's like even from my perspective, because it's like everybody knows I'm kind of a bigger channel and known about me for some time because I've been doing things for so long, both Beyblade and Bakugan. Throughout all that time, I kept up with both. Like I started my channel in 2012 when I was there for all of the first era of Bakugan, like all of it, you know, from very beginning up till Mectanium Surge. I was still going and collecting whatever I could find in my local stores, my local Kmart, which is now.
As you were recording,
good.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, I don't know what happened. My phone was just like, no, you're getting booted. But anyways, like I said, from Battle Brawlers up till Mectanium Surge, I was big into the game. I went around my local Kmart and such. Once Mectanium Surge ended, I felt like a hole in my soul because I'm like, Bakugan's over. What am I gonna do? And that's actually how I transitioned from like Bakugan to Beyblade. I got back into Beyblade because I was watching the show. It was the same exact thing, just how it started with Bakugan. So I'm a big time collector person. I love collecting stuff. The shows my Beyblade and Bakugan collections. But then being there for all of Metal Fight Beyblade ended with Shogun Steel in like 2014. I've been doing a skit series for that, you know, during the time being since then, and still like doing it to this day. About to finish it.
R.I.P. skits.
But then the reboot happened, and in like that kind of window period, you know, where the game was kind of dead. Well, you know, like first obviously being kind of popular and such, people know me about that.
Yeah.
People forget, like my first videos showed off like my collection. I spent time showing off my Bakugan collection I had then, while also starting to get into Beyblade and establishing that I did both. So, you know, some people are like, oh, he only does Beyblade, he only does Bakugan. It's like doing both and actually balancing them for all these years, you know.
Yeah. It's
like I'm a hybrid of the two. But once the reboot came, like I heard rumors, just hearing even rumors that like it's gonna come back. And I always had faith. I'm like, when this ends, it's gonna come back. And then sure enough, ended 2019 or like beginning of 2019. That's when we got it. And it was like very end of 2018. They're like, yeah, Bakugan's coming back. I had no clue about it. I was just like, you know what? I'm making these videos and I'm showing people how much I'm interested in it. I'm getting lots of Bakugan I wasn't able to get when I was a kid. Because when I was younger, I would it was the same case for me. I only had my local Walmart, had my local Kmarts, which are now both closed. Now I've only got my one Walmart, and then another one that's kind of closer to me now that I moved. But I got two Walmarts, growing up in a small town, not having anybody to battle with and such.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like kind of being one of the brawlers because being able to go on and talk to people about it, it's really, really cool. But sure enough, after those videos happened, I got a message because I was there for the first invitation. Anybody forgot?
I don't think we forgot, Kim.
Started off like they're like casually invited out to LA. So I thought it was spam because I was so used to getting spam. I'm like, no, this isn't real. Like, there's no way to get invited. And then sure enough, I messaged them and they're like, yeah, this is real. We just need your info. I was like, what? My heart dropped to the floor, dude. They found me from my small freaking hee-haw town and flew me out to LA for this event. So being there, not even only seeing that showcase room like once, but twice, being there for the first invitational, meeting like Team APS and Illinois, like in person. I met Illinois that previous summer, in 2018 because of the big
YouTuber bro.
But and that's where I met Stubbs in person too. But then, like seeing Illinois there again, and then meeting so many amazing people, like Leon Hart was there. That's when I met Simo. Where I met Negative Legend, where I met Billiam. It was just crazy. And even facing off against Jake, he got me in the first one. I'll admit that. But granted, both times when I lost during the Invitational, I lost to whoever made it to the final. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
That's fair.
I lost to this guy right here.
Yeah, it's like nothing changed with the demeanor. It was still like, because people think like, just being big, it's like, oh, you're going to get picked for sure. It's like, nah, man, I'm not that guy that takes that route. I put in the work and I just grind. I want to show people what I can do. And also like furthering the game and such, being a big part of it. So even being able to go to the events, I was flipping out just as much as you guys were. I knew it was your first time and I was just like being there again. I'm like, holy crap. And just having like a little bit of experience even going the second time. But then also being like, I kind of expect some things to happen, but also you don't know exactly what we're going to get.
Exactly.
It was truly a dream come true for me. Like both those events, definitely. I mean, so many events have happened for me. It's hard to make a top 10, but they're in the top 10. Like,
see, I don't play Bakugan as much as I should. I'm not in practice at all. M Stubbs whooped me the other night in the video brawling league. But yeah, and that's the other thing. You and Kimbo are in the same time zone. I'm on the West Coast, so right now it is 7:30.
It is 10 here, 10:30, something like that.
So that's the other thing with this podcast is we kind of have to like coordinate when all of us are available because time is such a hard thing to work around.
Yeah.
But no, I'm totally with you with the whole with the event thing because it was something that I thought about that could happen just because I know Spin Master asked me to be a Baku-Master, which I'm gonna lead into something else after I bring this up.
Oh, yeah.
But it was like I got asked to be a Baku-Master. I was really shocked about that. I was like, I'm just making videos about something that I like to do.
I'll tell my Baku-Master story here in a bit.
So that's what I was gonna kind of segue into is like the whole Baku-Master thing. Some people love the idea. I've heard some negative things about it. What's your guys' perspective on Spin Master kind of not sponsoring these creators, but in like kind of backing them in what they're making?
To me,
you want to go first? You can go first, Stubbs.
Coming from somebody with a channel as small as mine compared to everybody else that's a Baku-Master, and also seeing that they've recently added queso, Spanish for cheese, Magnus of YouTube, whatever you want to call him, as a Baku-Master. He's only got like 300 and something subs. Like, it's not about the subscriber count. It's something that I had to get through this thick skull of mine. It's not about the subscriber count. It's not about how big you are or anything like that.
It's about passion, baby.
Yes, passion. Like, how dedicated are you to this game? How much do you love this game? How much do you show how much you love this game in your videos? Like, heck, I'm not the most consistent uploader either, but I went to MomoCon and I played in the cage. I made sure and had the announcer announce that I had a YouTube channel, and I played my match against Simo. I beat him in 4 turns, and was approached by the media rep immediately after, and he said, I was over talking with him. I didn't realize he was the media rep at the time. I was talking with him and Gary A, and they were just talking about Anime Expo, and I was like, dude, I would love to go to Anime Expo. And then after that, after my match with Simo, the media rep approached me, and he was like, so you have a YouTube channel, right? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, and you were wanting to go to Anime Expo? I was like, yeah. And he was like, here's my card. Email me and we'll see what we can get you hooked up with. So I was like, sweet. So I emailed him and I, thanked him. I was like, dude, thank you so much for, giving me your email, reaching out to me. I was like, it's awesome. He was like, well, if you can make it to Anime Expo, don't worry about trying to get a ticket. We got you covered. I was like, holy crap. So that's when I was like, yeah, I'm going to Anime Expo. I'll be there. And then they sent out the email for the, I'm trying to think of the other word. What do they call us? I'm having not Baku-Master, not content creator. Wow, my brain just died on camera. That's lovely. Inspire
Ambassador.
the not ambassador, what I'm gonna let's see. I'm just gonna look it up. But the dinner,
Influencer.
Influencer. Thank you. That's it. Yep, the influencer.
You're welcome.
Dinner, and I was like, holy crap. I'm considered an influencer. And then I remember I was
You should not be influencing anybody.
I DM'd Ventus Knight, and I was like, so I'm getting mixed signals here. Am I a Baku-Master or no? And he was like, yes, you're a Baku-Master. I was like, what? So that was kind of my thing, and then I went to Anime Expo and played in the tournament. And I remember specifically speaking with Riley at the dinner, and was like, so about this invitational, like, do you know if I'm being invited? Because if I'm being invited, like if I know that I'm going to be invited for sure, I'm not going to compete, and I don't want to take that chance for somebody that isn't going to be able to go or isn't going to be automatically invited. I don't want to take that away from them. And she was like, honestly, I don't know. So it's in your best bet to play. So that's why I played. If I had known that I was like for sure that I was going to be invited, I wouldn't have played in the tournament at Anime Expo for the chance to go to the Invitational, because I'm not that guy.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I know that, I mean, Kim didn't play either. He was like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be going. I would rather other people have a chance, and
just don't want to take that away from somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, like, even my story with things, even with the events, it's like, and obviously I started with the Invitational, the first one. Even the fact I got there, the main thing that caught on for me was just my outgoing personality, because you just saw me like in the background dancing and doing goofy stuff, because I'm just like, I can't believe I'm here right now, dude. It's literally a kid with a dream that's in a place, and just being like, it could be a goof, and people embraced me for being a goof. Everybody that was filming were losing their minds with me just like going by everybody and dancing and stuff. So that was really, really cool. And yeah, they didn't actually have the term like Baku-Master then. It was like months later, like when they put out like the sheet for like all the events for last year. when they really coined like the thing Baku-Master. And I was like, if I get considered this is wild. And sure enough, they sent me like a package out of nowhere. They're like, yeah, you're a Baku-Master. I'm like, holy freaking crap. It's one of those roles. It's like people might think it's like controversial with it, but it's like the fact that they're making Baku-Masters, that they're talking to like the creators and such, the people that are big time into the game. It shows how much they're trying to connect with their fan base. It's not just like, oh, we're just putting out this game and trying to make revenue off it or anything like that.
That's the thing I think people
really
Yeah, that's the thing I think people aren't really understanding. Because, the term Baku-Master now in the community, some people have like a little sour taste about the term Baku-Master. They think it's all about, getting free stuff.
Yeah.
No.
And
it's like
I was sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I was playing one of the other guys in the video brawling league, and we were talking, and like after our match, and I was just showing him like my diamond shelf, and he was like, so how many of those did you find naturally or trade for, and how many of those are from Spin Master? And I was like, honestly, like 2 on the shelf are from Spin Master.
Yeah.
If you want to be real technical, 3, but it's one that I already had. So it was like when they sent me my Diamond Hydronoid Ultra, they sent me 2 Diamond Hydronoid Ultra and a Diamond Core Dragonoid from Battle Planet. And at the time, I already had it, and I used the second Diamond Hydronoid Ultra as prize support for a tournament that I hosted down here in Tennessee. Like I go hard. I love this game, and I'll pick up people who are, quitting like collections, and I'll use Bakugan from those collections to help further a community in my area, because I want to see this game grow. I want to include people that have even the slightest interest in it.
Absolutely.
And I want to make it accessible to them in the midst of all of the distribution issues that have plagued Spin Master from the get-go with this. And it's honestly really kind of frustrating because everybody wants to act like it's completely Spin Master's fault when it's not. I don't know how much I can go into about it with what I know, but it's not solely their fault. I promise you that. If it was something that was completely within their hands, it wouldn't have ever happened.
Yeah.
And it's like, even like the way I see with things, it's like, yes, the term Baku-Master is something from the very get-go, from moment one. Especially everybody knows it's about me, is I take it very seriously. It's why I make so many deck profiles. It's why I upload constantly, and some people think like I just get gifted all things I get. Do I get gifted some things? Yeah, just like any other Baku-Master. But also a lot of the stuff I worked and grinded for. I got a real job, and honestly, the majority of the money I put into like the games because I love them that much. Heck, anybody who doesn't know about these bad boys, these are real tattoos on my arm for the games. You can probably see like the darkest symbol, you see the pirate symbol and such. I love them so much. I got them tattooed in my skin. That's how much
I tried to scrub them off at the Invitational.
Yeah, I got to show something off, and I got some since then. Which it's really cool. And Justin Gary himself taking a picture of the darkest logo was nuts, dude. I'll never forget it. He's like, let me get a picture of that. I'm like, Justin Gary's taking a picture of my freaking arm right now.
Yeah.
What is my life? What is my life even right now? But like the whole entire time, I take that super seriously, because it's like, obviously with those distribution errors, not everybody having these things, because with any game like this, the epicenter of where that game starts, obviously people get things more concentrated. It's like how Beyblade is in Japan, because it comes from Japan and it comes over to the US. Same thing with Pokemon. So in Japan they have a lot more stuff than US does with like Beyblade and Pokemon and such, or at least it comes later. And in the case of Bakugan with this reboot, it's the other way around, from the U.S. going out globally and such. And yes, the distribution errors do throw a damper in things, but it's also working with what you got. It's a constant thing I've said, even with my videos, working with what you have. That's why I've made so many deck profiles, because hopefully it inspires people to use what they have out there, because it's a given. Not everybody has this amount of stuff or has access to this stuff.
Exactly.
So use what you got, and it's about the longevity of the game and making it where the game goes for a long time, because it sucks when you see people quit, or like a game starting to die down. And it's like, nah, that's why I crank out constantly. That's why I make deck profiles constantly.
Spread the word.
You know, I've even gotten stuff about having like 60 almost decks, and people are like, "That's excessive, don't you think?" And I'm like, "Nah, because they're all built for my style." And I said from the get-go, no Bakugan left behind. There's some Bakugan. There's like a meta that people focus on certain Bakugan with it, but in reality, we have how many? What, 300-400 Bakugan total in both of the seasons, and the majority of them aren't really used by a lot of people. But they don't know how to use them. And it's like showing people how they could be used. Because there's so much more than just that little bit. Because if everything's just competitive, it takes, like, don't get me wrong, I'm a competitive person too, and being competitive is okay, but also some people don't have everything. And it's just working with what you got and having fun with what you do with the bros, you know, and just being a Baku-Master and take it very seriously, take this role very seriously, and do what I can to show off what can be utilized with the game, you know, even with things coming out. Heck, when Fusion Force comes out, I'll try to be on top of it, find some of the Fusion Bakugan and show people how they are.
Yep.
I'm just happy to be getting my Fusion Force deck tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm excited for that. But anyway, I don't want to end the podcast, the first episode, on a negative note like that. So let's go ahead. Before we end the podcast, what is one good thing that happened to you guys this week?
Yo, my AC got fixed today.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Yeah. Even with that, I wouldn't say it's like a full on negative note. It's just being real about some things, you know, because it's just important to address them. You know.
No, totally.
I think it's misconstrued or anything, but I mean, regardless, I'm excited for how the things are going with the game, but also just cards.
To bounce off of that.
Totally agree.
I'm sure some of the people in the video brawl chat are probably sick of me being like, guys, chill out, because I'm the one that's in the chat that, like, when everybody like starts getting in their like negative funky mood about like distribution or like with the slip up of the Fusion Force decks being labeled Armored Elite and this, that, and the other, I'm just like, guys, like, I know there's mess ups, I know there's some things that suck, but let's focus on what we have, and play the game with what we have currently. And if, you know, things get fixed, awesome, we're prepared for it. If they don't, we had a great time with what they gave us. We didn't sit around and be like, there's these things that need to be coming out or haven't came out, or like, we're not so like, I get wanting to focus on the future and wanting to try and stay up to date and be on top of like meta, even though there's not really a meta in Bakugan. There's Bakugan that are better than, like, there's obviously some that are just very obviously better selections compared to some other ones because they do basically the same thing except better. But at the end of the day, if it's a Bakugan that you're more comfortable rolling with, and in real life, if you can use that to your advantage against your opponent, then you're gonna do better, because people forget that this is a TCG, but on top of that, it's also a very like, I don't want to use kinesthetic, but like, there's dexterity to it. Like, you have to be able to open your Bakugan. If you can't open your Bakugan, you're not gonna do anything. Doesn't matter. So sometimes, honestly, if there's two Bakugan that are really similar, but one's like a little bit like worse on paper, but you open it better, then by all means play the one that's worse on paper, because you're going to open it more and it's going to allow you to have options. So it's like, I don't know, people get hung up on the small stuff with this game, and they forget that we have, even though 2 of the sets have been kind of hard to get, we have a full 4 sets that have been officially released, and there's plenty of cards to choose from. Yes, some cards are going to be less optimal in terms of cost versus advantage that you get off of the card, but it doesn't mean that it's unplayable, and that it doesn't mean that you can't, like, sometimes, very, very, very few amounts of times, like, an example would be Glimmering Glaive versus Consort. Like, obviously glaive is much better than consort. In the essence, it's a gear, and you get a permanent plus 400. But it's not so much better that if you're stuck having to play consort, you're going to lose every single match that you ever play because you don't have glaive in your deck and you're having to play consort. Like it's not that big of a difference. It's enough of a difference that it may cost you a couple games, but it's not going to be like, oh man, I don't have glimmering glaive in my deck, I'm never going to win. It's not that far. I'm having to play a less optimal card for the energy cost. Okay, you can still do good stuff with that with the other card. It's still a good card. It's not the best version of its card, but it's still a good card, and it can still be used, and it can still get you places. I don't know. People forget to make do with what we have and try and enjoy the game and be happy with what we have.
Yeah, just go with what you got. And it's like, I mean, even if, you're in a brawl and say you have a bad brawl and you or your opponent is missing their rolls, that alone switches up everything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you can't land a roll, I mean, your deck doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
And that's one of the things that I absolutely love about this game.
Yeah. Oh, me too. It's part of the strategy. But anyway, we'll talk a lot more about the gameplay when we have our gameplay episode coming up soon. But I think for this first episode, it was just an opportunity for you to get to know us more on a personal level rather than just on a content creator level.
Yeah.
So,
Heck yeah.
Talk about our stories, what brought us into the game and everything. So it was I learned more about you guys today. So
yeah, same. I feel like I talked a lot, but hey.
No, that's all good. That's what we're here for.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, so I think that'll be a good close for this episode. So thank you guys for joining me today.
Yeah, definitely, no problem.
Oh wait, I got one more thing to tell you.
Oh, what?
Go
for
it.
Dylan,
yes.
The card that you gave me. Remember the card you gave me at the event? It's the part of my setup. I put a bunch of the cards up part of my setup. So
I need to get my actual character card printed. I was not to be a Debbie Downer, but I was honestly a little bummed that I didn't get that we didn't get cards for year 2 like year 1 got designed. I was really looking forward to that because I thought that was a really cool thing. But super obviously super happy with everything that we got and super grateful for everything that we did get and even just being able to go. But I was really looking forward and hoping because I was like, oh, it's gonna be so awesome. But it is what it is. But hint.
He'll do you good.
Yeah, Briar could always hit him up about a card. I'm thinking about hitting him about it like
he did my card. I just need to have him print it. I've not had it.
Oh, a good kind of. This is not related to the podcast. A good card printer, makeplayingcards.com. That's what I use.
Okay.
So just for future reference.
Well, I'll
cool.
keep that.
All right. So that's gonna do it for this episode, guys. Thank you guys for checking us out. There's definitely gonna be more to come. You guys got anything to say before we close?
Keep calm and brawl on. And Subs 88 out.
Stay awesome and Bakugan Brawl.
All right. See you guys next time.
Later, guys.